Alright, this is practice problem 4.11. Determine the oxidation state of sulfur in all of the following. So the first one we can look at is H2S. Okay, and if we know we have H2S, okay, the first thing we need to note is that this molecule is neutral, right? It has no charge, and so that we know that the total oxidation state or total charge on this has to be equal to 0. Okay, all the other molecules have to add up to 0. Well, hydrogen, based on the rules for oxidation, if it's bonded to a nonmetal like sulfur, it's going to have a charge of +1. And so we have two of those times a +1 charge. Okay, plus we're looking for sulfur, so X. That includes all of our elements here. So then X must be equal to -2. The next one is S8. Okay, so with S8, once again we know that if we know the oxidation rules, we say, okay, well, rule number 1 says any element in its elemental form has an oxidation number of 0. Okay, S8 is in its elemental form, and so the oxidation state for that is just 0. That one's pretty straightforward. The next one is sulfur chloride, SCl2. Okay, when we talk about SCl2, that is a binary compound. It's composed of two different elements. Okay, and we said that halides, so everything in group 7A like chlorine, is going to have an oxidation of -1. Okay, once again we know this molecule is neutral, so it must equal 0. So if we know chlorine is -1, and we have two of those, 2 minus 1 plus X has to equal to 0. Okay, and so what we find is that X is equal to 2. D is Na2SO3, so it's composed of a little bit more. Alright, the first thing we can note is that sodium is an alkali metal, right? And so we know that the oxidation of sodium has to be 1. Right? And so we have two of those. The next thing we know is oxygen is going to be -2. So we have plus X for the sulfur, plus we have 3 oxygen times -2. So we just put in that charge. And we notice this molecule is neutral as well. So it has to equal 0 total. And so what we find is that X is equal to 4. Alright, so the last one, E, is going to be SO4, 2 minus. Okay, once again we know oxygen is -2, so we have 4 times a -2, plus we have S, and we note that the total charge on this molecule is -2. So -2. And so S, which we could call X, is going to be S is equal to a +6.